When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
You really about to do it?
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
You really about to do it?
Yeah, they tried to.
Doesn't like black music. But Kendrick is right. This moment is so much bigger than music. These are serious times. We've got serious problems, and we need serious people who understand that slogans are not solutions. When you want substantial and sober analysis about things that matter to you and the ones you love, this is where you turn. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 100 Days of Donald John Trump. CNN's new polling is now suggesting that their polls suggest that the first 100 days in nearly 70 years, no president has performed or underperformed in the position in terms of how the American people feel almost since Franklin Delano Roosevelt in the Great Depression. The American people feel the anxiety of an economy that is collapsing, that is uncertain, and the context is unparalleled. What do? Democrats have been staging sit-ins on Capitol Hill. Some have even referred to most recently, according to Senator Nina Turner, the most recent photo op between Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries looks like AIPAC Secure, not Tupac Secure, but AIPAC Secure. They staged a 12-hour sit-in on the Capitol stairs, and I guess that's what it means to protest as a Democrat. The Democratic Party itself, in the same poll, its numbers are worse than they've been in 50 years. In other words, the American people are not seeing an opposition party that is functioning, and that does not bode well for the 2026 elections. 100 days of Donald Trump has been an extraordinary disaster. It may even take decades to recover from just the first 100 days, and there are 1,360 days left in this administration. If the next 1,360 days are anything like the first 100 days, America, the American experiment itself, may not recover. And so there's concern. There's anxiety in the land. I had the great privilege this week of speaking for a memory of one of Congress's greatest representatives. What would have been the 103rd birthday of Congressman Perrin Mitchell, the first African-American elected from the South, elected from the state of Maryland. Yes, Maryland is in the South since Reconstruction. As you know, more than a dozen African-Americans were elected to Congress during first Reconstruction between 1865 and 1896, Plessy versus Ferguson, 1901, when George White delivered a speech, perhaps Phoenix-like, "We will return to the Congress." But by then, the Night Riders, the Ku Klux Klan, and others had begun terrorizing African Americans at the polls, particularly African American men, who, with the passage of the 15th Amendment to the Constitution in 1870, gained the right to vote. Not women, but African American men. The Night Riders, the Ku Klux Klan, other terrorist organizations terrorizing Black people at the polls. When the last African American left the Congress after George White's speech, we began officially Jim Crow. Until Brown versus the Board of Education, until the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, we did not see African Americans return to the Congress of the United States in any great numbers until the 1965 Voting Rights Act. But the first African American ever elected to Congress since Reconstruction in the early 70s, 1970, I believe, was Perrin J. Mitchell. And we've never elected an African American to Congress again like him. Two-time Purple Heart winner. He left part of himself on the battlefield in defense of the country. A Marylander. And at this commemoration dinner for the life of Perrin Mitchell, I heard the most amazing oration delivered by an 11-year-old girl. Just 11 years old. I began Googling Grayson Herbert earlier today because I wanted to know more about her resume, know more about who she is. And then my producer called me and said, "Jesse, she's 11. There's no long resume here." But I've never heard a more fierce, more determined voice than Grayson Herbert. And then it hit me while I was sitting there listening to her. What are other 11-year-olds thinking? What are the messages that she's receiving and that they are receiving? I know when I was 11 years old, I was not as serious as Grayson Herbert. Grayson and her parents are going to be joining us when we come forward. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. We're going to hear her poem, Respect. When we come forward, Grayson Herbert and the Herbert family and Superintendent of Schools, Kirk Latimer. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr.
If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality because this is it. Every day you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community. And as a people, we've apologized for so much. But when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes. So it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
The revolution will not be televised.
What's up? It is Killer Mike, also known as Michael Render, and I'm encouraging you to listen to more, not less, of Truth Time with Dr. Cornel West and Senator Nina Turner on KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Grayson Herbert, Seven elementary school fifth grader, won the Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Contest, captivating the audience with an original monologue titled Respect. Severn Elementary School fifth grader Grayson Herbert earned the top spot in the recent 2025 Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Contest sponsored by the Anne Arundel Alliance of Black School Educators. Herbert's work centered around fostering civility amid differing viewpoints, encouraging adults to model positive behavior for young people, and promoting respect through words, actions, and deeds. Grayson Herbert, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am so honored that you're here, and I see your parents are here as well. Mr. Herbert, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and Mrs. Herbert.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I want to give Grayson an opportunity to read her oration, to speak her oration to a national audience. And then I have a few questions for Grayson that are very specific to her age group and to her thinking on what inspired this oration. Grayson, the show is yours.
What has happened to respect? What has happened to a yes, ma'am, or a no, sir? Even a simple yes or no seems too much to ask people nowadays. People walk around using bad words like they're a part of the new English language. What has happened to respecting our differences? If adults can't respect each other, how are us kids supposed to learn? You're leaving us a world full of hate, disrespect, and uncertainty. The ones we look up to, the ones who are supposed to lead us, are arguing like kids, calling each other names, even throwing things at people they don't even know. Is that what respect is supposed to look like? What about kindness? What about empathy? What if, just for a second, people stop to think about how someone else feels? Imagine losing everything you had. Wouldn't you want somebody to care? It's just simple decency, doing what's right. Why is that so hard? Ever since I was little, my parents told me the only thing that you have in this world is your word and your kindness. And that stuck. But I look around and I see people being judged because of the color of their skin. What about their heart? What about their actions? What about doing the right thing when no one is watching? I want to grow up in a world where I'll feel respected and where I feel valued. But that has to start with the adults around me. If they show respect, we will learn respect. And maybe, just maybe, the world will be a better place because of it.
Grayson Herbert delivered that speech, that oration, and she won the Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Contest. She also repeated it this past Saturday at the Perrin Mitchell Commemoration Dinner. And I was floored by what an 11-year-old had to say about the nation, about our body politic, and what's going on. And I was so grateful that Grayson's mother and father allowed her the opportunity to be on the Jesse Jackson Jr. show. And I'd like to just probe Grayson for just a moment or so. Grayson, share with us what was on your mind when you chose to write the poem, the oration, Respect.
Well, I just wanted to tell all the adults that we have eyes and ears everywhere. I know that might seem a little weird, but we're like a sponge. We soak up all the information around us, and how adults argue and do stuff, they might not even know we're watching, but we are. And I want adults to know that we are watching.
Grayson, I wasn't when I was 11 years old paying attention at the level that you are paying attention, and the profundity of the speech, the oration that you gave that won the Martin Luther King Jr. Contest. And so I'm so concerned that for an 11-year-old, not only are you extremely mature, extremely bright, and I know that you have an extremely bright future, I'm wondering, do your classmates feel the same about the messages that adults are sending similarly situated 11-year-olds whom you know?
Yes.
Is this the conversation? This is the conversation they're having?
Yes. Well, my friends are always talking about how anxious and stressed they are about like what they see on the news and what secretiveness our teachers are talking about. And somehow they are being secretive. We are looking at that and we're thinking something is wrong or something bad is happening. And they agree with me. And I mean, well, it's just very hard to know that something might be happening, but we don't know about it. And that's what makes us anxious.
Mrs. Herbert, first of all, congratulations on raising such a genius of a daughter. It's clear that her parents are very focused and very clear on who she is and what it is she's trying to accomplish. Share with us as a parent, one, your pride for Grayson, but also what you're hearing from other parents in this generation.
So in this generation, what a lot of my friends talk about, we talk about not extinguishing the fire that our young girls are having, giving them the courage to be able to speak and learning how to advocate for themselves, making sure that we're fostering like critical thinking, letting them ask questions. Why is this happening? Not always giving them the answer, but allowing them to figure it out. And throughout that, also allowing them to have those natural consequences, right? So if something happens, and then they can figure out how the experiences will develop the resiliency in them and in their judgment.
Mrs. Grayson, I can only imagine that raising a daughter in this particular environment has been challenging. It's been challenging throughout our history as African Americans. And we had this moment. We had this moment from the moment that Joe Biden withdrew his candidacy. An African American woman of Asian descent presented herself to be the leader of the free world. And the context within which Grayson, at age, I guess, 10 then and 11 during that period, she said that she was a sponge, that they are paying attention to all of the dialogue around themselves. It really does speak volumes that the national and local role models for women do have an impact on an 11-year-old.
Yes, definitely. And we've taught her in many ways how to celebrate her voice and how to be assertive and continue to be curious, but while using her creativity.
Mr. Grayson, I know you've got to be some kind of a proud papa.
Absolutely.
To see your daughter. Share what it has been like as an African-American father raising a young African-American girl to be authentic, to be herself, and to be genuine.
Sure. So, it's much different than the way I was raised. So a lot of it is making sure that she can advocate for herself. So, a lot of times we allow her to negotiate, but we have to quickly understand that is not talking back. That is allowing her to have a voice, to be able to negotiate. So those are the skills that she needs to hone in on as, for adult. So, it's a lot of, free range, free range parenting, but there is guardrails, but it's all about her voice, making sure that she can advocate for herself. I'll stop here.
I must say, Mr. and Mrs. Herbert, I was impressed with her poise. I was impressed with her posture. I was impressed with her tone. I was impressed with her clarity. I also observed a generation of African-American adults, some of whom, when they're in the presence of certain people, they tip their head, they bend over, they're looking at the ground, they won't look someone directly in the eyes. And Grayson commanded the audience at 11 years old. I mean, I can't imagine how serious she has taken the lessons that you have shared with her, the instructions that you've given her, the history that you've given her, the pride that you have instilled in her at 11. I can only imagine a fierceness that will come from young Grayson's clarity as she matures into her teen years and ultimately into adulthood. Mr. Grayson, speak to that for us, and then I'd like Mrs. Grayson to speak to that as well, and then I want to come back to our special guest.
Oh, speaking to the fact of go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
So you can go ahead, Mr. Herbert.
You got it.
Oh, okay. So we just continue to trust in her and having her to believe in her abilities, teaching her how to make good decisions, building her skills. A lot of times we allow her to make movement where when I was growing up, I know going into the kitchen to cut on the stove, to experiment, to cook, we allow her to do those things. And that's building her confidence as she moved through, and just not shielding her from making those mistakes, letting her make mistakes, learning from them, and continue to foster her critical thinking skills. I think teaching her how to think, not what to think, is what we do here. Encouraging her to ask questions, to explore, to make mistakes, and letting her know that mistakes are part of learning, because once she makes those mistakes, she's learning from those mistakes, and then she's growing from them. So we continue to do that, and just continue to celebrate her voice and let her be as assertive as she needs to be, but also using her creativity, keeping her, trying to channel her. We have to channel those things sometimes because, her qualities, but teaching her that everything is done with respect. Everything's done with respect. And we are constantly speaking of, we're preparing you for college, your next level. Everything that we do, trust me, we're doing it for preparing you for college. And that's with all of her structured activities that she's involved in. So we constantly let her know that these are the things that we're doing for you now, so that you can. I'm sorry, you want me to stop talking?
No, not at all. I want as soon as you are finished talking, for Mr. Herbert to comment on the difficulty of being a Black father in this environment, and then I'm going to turn back to our special guest, Grayson Herbert. Mr. Herbert, a Black father.
The difficulties. I mean, the real thing is there is so much information out there that you have to be able to, first you got to have some faith base because without faith, you know, it is just is really tough to conquer this world. And so as a Black man, you know, I in the workplace and raising a Black daughter, I see what it looked like in that environment. And so my thing is, I go back to that voice, making sure that she has that voice to be able to advocate for herself. So it's really all about her, you know, being able to understand what's before her and make the decisions early. So it's you know, like putting tools in her toolbox for every situation. You know, I call it give her a little game on the side.
Grayson, share with us what you want to be when you grow up.
I want to be a psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist. That is a medical doctor and a specialty in psychiatry. That is very serious business. I'm so convinced of Grayson's leadership capacity, her determination, that I'm giving her today the first Future Leaders Award on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. I wish it came with a scholarship and with some resources to the college of her choice. But the most likely to lead award to Grayson Herbert for service rendered to the betterment of society and our future. Congratulations, Grayson. I am so grateful that you've spent this time with us on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're not going anywhere yet.
Oh, okay.
We're going to come back. I just wanted to get that done on this side of the show. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is 11-year-old Grayson Herbert. She is the future.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with 4 things you should know from BIN News. Military officials are concerned over the increase in unauthorized drone activities over military installations in the U.S. The Military and Foreign Affairs chairman said a more formal authority agency needs to be appointed. Black Senator Cory Booker said, quote, "We should know what's going on in our skies," quote. More than 50,000 Los Angeles County employees are on strike. The workers walked off the job Monday. It's expected to impact services from parks and libraries to healthcare and social work. A Black union employee said they want a new contract that will help everyone. Former North Carolina NAACP leader Reverend William Barber was arrested Monday at the U.S. Capitol. Barber and 2 other ministers were taken into custody while praying inside the Capitol Rotunda. They're facing misdemeanor charges. And in case you need lunch or dinner ideas, today is National Shrimp Scampi Day. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is already hiring for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Job seekers never pay a fee at Express. Go to expresspros.com to find your location. That's expresspros.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Critical game for the Clippers tonight in Denver. It's game 5 of their first round series against the Nuggets. Games apiece in the best of 7. Clippers coach Ty Lue needs to come up with something in his game plan to deal with Nuggets center Nikola Jokic. In the 4 games, Jokic is averaging a triple-double, 28.5 points, 13.5 rebounds, and 10.8 assists. The Clippers have no players on their injury list, which means Kawhi Leonard is healthy. The Clippers will not get past the Nuggets without Leonard. Leonard has been brilliant in the series, averaging 26 points and shooting 56%. 7 p.m. tip-off tonight on TNT. Shaquille O'Neal has agreed to become the general manager at Sacramento State University. Shaq will help run the school's men's basketball program. Shaq's son, Shakir, transferred to Sac State from HBCU, Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk Radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KBLA Talk 1580 and the California Black Chamber of Commerce invite you to the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. Get certified and register as a new bidder. Sell products and services to the state. Learn about pre-bid events and more, and it's all free. All you have to do is sign up at www.calbcc.org. That's www.calbcc.org. Registration for the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, begins at 9 a.m. and the workshop concludes at 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. This is a community call to action from the California Black Chamber of Commerce and KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Curran Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman, that's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest tomorrow will be Joey Jackson, attorney Joey Jackson, who has one of the most concise, clear legal minds in the nation. And we are going to have him for a full hour. He comes on Wealthy Wednesdays with Dr. Todd Yeary. Dr. Todd Yeary has 1 foot in the courtroom and 1 foot in the pulpit. And Joey Johnson has both feet in the courtroom, both feet on CNN, both feet contributing to every critical legal issue that is confronting our nation. He is our very special guest tomorrow on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. In this half an hour of the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, we have been blessed to have our very special guest, Grayson Herbert, and her family. She is the winner of the Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Contest. My very close and dear friend, Kirk B. Latimer, is now joining us. I want to talk about Kirk for just 1 second because I want him to opine on what he has just experienced and we all experienced. But I want to give you a little bit of his work history because I'm going to give him an award too. From 2018 to the present, he's an adjunct faculty member at Asbury University. His work history includes from 2017 to the present, he's a coach, mentor for school leaders for Jefferson County Public Schools. From 2023 to 2024, he's interim middle school assistant superintendent for Jefferson County Public Schools. 2021 to 2021, interim middle school assistant superintendent. 2018, interim principal, Crosby Middle School. 2018, DuPont Manual High School, interim principal. 2016 to 2018, National School Leadership Coach, National Institute of School Leadership. His work history from 2012 to 2016, superintendent. Listen, I'm presenting him with an outstanding leadership award as well, an honorary doctorate from the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Kirk B. Kirk knows he's always welcomed on our program, but Kirk, I want to get right to the point. You've had the opportunity for the last half an hour to listen to Grayson on our show, and I'd like you to opine on the kind of student that she obviously is. Obviously, her parents are here with her, which certainly says something about the strength of the family. But her future is extremely bright, and you come into contact with hundreds, and maybe over the course of your career, thousands of students who are on their way, and they're also dealing with very difficult times. But an 11-year-old just broke down for us what's happening in the whole world.
Sure.
Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the promotion. I was actually assistant superintendent, but thanks for the promotion, and thanks for the doctorate. Thanks for the doctor too, even though I'm not a doctor, but it's all good. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, as I listened and as I read that information, oh gosh, I thought about Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6. The wolf will lie with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion, and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. So that's the first thing I thought about when I read and as I listened. And you're right. There is a society right now where we are seeing the decline for respect for humans. We are seeing it right now. And you have definitely pointed that out. And I want to first of all say thank you for your courage, for your passion, your deep commitment to wanting to make a better world. Thank you, parents. Oh gosh, you are the first teachers. And I always remind everybody, you are the first teachers. And we thank you for what you have done. in setting the stage, creating that environment for your child to think critically, to want to emphasize this whole idea of dignity and respect for others, but also for herself. So I want to congratulate you both and thank you for that. And the challenge for us as educators today is to think about what is it we have control of, because we can't control everything that that happens outside that schoolhouse. But what we can do as educators, we can begin to create and set in a safe, caring learning environment for our kids, helping them to think critically about the social media, think critically about how they are interacting with other people, and then beginning to challenge them to think about, how do we make this place a better world? I think about when I was a principal, that was between 99 and 2012, so I'm dating myself. Kids knew my mannerism. They had my talk down. They were watching. Kids are watching the adults. And so it doesn't matter where you are. If you're in front of if you are a leader, people are watching you. And especially if you're a public servant, people are watching you. And we do set the example for our kids. And so I just want to say thank you so far. And I appreciate that. And we all need to do better.
You know, Kirk, I'm thinking about all of the signals that, you know, when we were growing up, we didn't have social media. We didn't have these cell phone devices. We still had phone booths. You could put a quarter in a phone to make a call, right?
Yes, sir.
But there's so many competing influences. Grayson has said that she wants to be a psychiatrist. Obviously, that's a medical doctor, right? And
Yes.
then a specialty in psychiatry. She wants to listen. By definition, that's psychiatric care. She's concerned by definition about mental health. I know that we're going to talk about some of these issues when we come forward in our final segment, and I should share with everyone to give Grayson a chance to prepare herself. In the final segment, I always conclude by asking my guests for a word of hope to our national audience. And so in the final segment, which will occur momentarily, I'm going to allow or ask Dr. Latimer, of course, I just made him a doctor, and the parents of this wonderful young lady who is on her way to be one of our nation's leader at age 11. And I'm going to ask ultimately Grayson Herbert to close us with some final thoughts. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. When we come forward, some final thoughts from Kirk Latimer, the Graysons, and Grayson Herbert.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nearly 7 million Americans aged 65 and older are living with Alzheimer's disease, also known as AD, a type of dementia that affects memory, thinking, and behavior, making everyday tasks challenging. But did you know that Black adults aged 65 and older are twice as likely as white adults to develop AD? There are things you can do to help reduce your risk for developing AD. Managing conditions like diabetes and high blood pressure is crucial. Staying physically active, maintaining social connections, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your mind engaged with activities like reading or puzzles can all contribute to brain health. It's also important to recognize some common signs and symptoms of early AD, such as forgetfulness that causes problems with everyday life, asking the same question a few times in a row, and difficulty concentrating on basic tasks. If you see these signs in yourself or a loved one, don't wait. Early diagnosis and intervention are key to managing AD effectively. To learn more about AD and a potential treatment option, visit treatallzearly.com. That's treatallzearly.com. This message is brought to you by AZI.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-9651. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-9651. That's 800-550-9651. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number because Ray, he's going to text it live and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. and welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We have a very, very special show today and a very, very special guest. And before I turn to the final thoughts of our special guests, I want to allow Kirk Latimer. I can't do, Kirk, 100 days more of Donald Trump. I need 100 days of Grayson Herbert. I need 100 days of the Herbert family. I need some hope. And I struggle every day with something to hold on to. You know, what kind of future are we building? What kind of future are we going to have? So I just have a few questions for you because I know you're going to leave us before the 5-minute mark and
Okay.
the show is over. What can we control? How do we raise, and how did you raise your own children? And how do you mentor students? You've seen 2 decades of kids and changing education. I mean, how do we do it in this environment? How do we produce more Graysons?
Okay. I thought about some key things that we can help encourage with our kids. And as I listened to our wonderful guest, and I heard her talk about concerns, and you know, kids are stressed out nowadays. So I thought about 3 key areas. Community. So there are people that feel just like you. How do we get connected to them? How do we connect to those people that are wanting to see respect for everybody? And then how do we begin advocating to do that? So there's power in community. And when you're working with people that are feeling the same way you are, you're not alone. That helps reduce that anxiety. But then you can get together and advocate for something. So when you're doing something, and encourage the adults to be more respectful, to encourage your peers to be more respectful, that is something you can do. Preparation, equipping yourself. As I listen to our wonderful guest again, she wants to be a psychiatrist. And for all of our kids, there's no substitute for excelling in school. Whatever you do, excel in the academics. Because if you want to become a medical doctor or anything, trust me, I have a daughter that is a medical doctor, and we all went to med school and residency with her. Okay. It is a lot of work, but it can be done. But all I can tell you is prepare yourself. Then you have these areas of concern. If it's respect and people getting along, study that area. Become an expert in that area. Then the other thing I would encourage is balance. And what I mean by balance, take time every day to do something positive that you enjoy doing. It helps you survive a lot of these crazy things going on. Prayer always works. I'm going to tell you, when I was a principal, every morning before I left, my wife and I were on our knees and I was praying each day before I went into that schoolhouse. Lord, give me wisdom, give me discernment, make sure I'm treating people with dignity and respect, make sure I'm listening. I pray for those things. And then physical exercise, something to help that balance. So I encourage you all, or parents or anybody else that are trying to raise kids nowadays, think about encouraging these 3 things with your children. Building community, equipping themselves for the future, and having that balance in their lives.
Kirk, thank you very much for being on the Jesse Jackson Show. Look forward to having you back. Kirk Latimer.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We've got just a few moments left, about 3 or 4 minutes before the top of the hour. I want to give your parents, Grayson, an opportunity just to say something very briefly, and then we'd like for you to speak to the nation and close us out. Grayson, why don't we start with your parents? Mrs. Herbert?
I just want to thank Anne Arundel County Alliance of Black School Educator for putting on the MLK Oratorical Contest for Grayson to be able to use her words. I know you spoke of, I know that in a time of division and doubt, you know, sometimes hope seems very silent, but I think every act of kindness that we can do, and using our voice to always speak the truth, making sure that because this world is not beyond any healing. We just have to be able to be compassionate, to have courage, and to have unity as and we can shape our young ones to lead us in the future. So just hope isn't feeling it's a decision to believe that there's a better world out there for us to build it and build it together.
Thank you,
Grayson?
Mr. Herbert.
All right, I'm gonna be very swift with this. I'm gonna put it in just a 3-point really quick. It is prayer, it is laughter, and it is kindness. And
Amen.
Sure, sweet, I love it.
Grayson, your parents do what parents do. We kick it on down. We kick the can down the road to the next generation.
To the next
Grayson,
generation.
we have about 2 minutes left in our show. Grayson, take your time and speak to the country. What do you wish for all of us and for the world?
What I wish is I want to tell the young people that we're growing up in a world that is confusing and that is unfair. But we have the power to change it. By using your kindness and using your voice, we can change and steer ourselves in the direction we want to go. And we don't want, the world will tell us a lot of yeses and nos, but we just have to take that and roll along with it. So I guess what I'm trying to say is believe in yourself and the world and your path will get better.
We are so proud of you. Thank you for giving us some hope. These are very difficult times for all of us grown folks. This,
yes, it is.
You represent the kind of hope that that a generation, in fact, that all Americans need. We are so grateful to you. We're so proud of you, and we're going to keep pushing you forward every chance we can. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Thank you to the Herbert family.
KBLA 1587 Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with 4 things you should know from BIN News.